So I am going to welcome everybody to Health Careers Week, session 6 of our career chats. I'm Kate Lee. I'm the Executive Director of Education and Workforce for the South Bend Regional Chamber. Allison Herzig is behind the South Bend Regional Chamber logo down there doing all the amazing background work, and she will be dropping links in the chat, supporting documentation, all that information. And if there's questions that come up, she's really good at grabbing things and tossing it in there for lots of good resources. So quick housekeeping. If we want to first, we already thanked you for that, and all attendees are muted. So we want to hear from you. Please use the chat function to ask questions or share comments throughout the session. We're scheduled for 30 minutes. And as a reminder, these are all being recorded for year-round career exploration. So if you want to go back and revisit this, if you have a friend, you're like, oh, it's too bad they missed this, you can share that with them. Or if you want your parents to see it, or fellow educators, please use these resources. They will be under the talent tab on the chamber website waiting for you, and they are right there with Building Trades and Manufacturing Week resources. So lots of career exploration opportunities out there. We want to thank and recognize the support of Ivy Tech, who is a presenting partner for Health Careers Week, and make sure and visit that Health Careers Week landing page to learn even more about the various employers in our community, educational resources, the careers you can pursue. Great information out there. So this morning, we are excited to welcome Lisa Comer, Department Chair, Healthcare Specialist Programs, Elkhart South Bend Campus, and Darren Dover-Spike, Beacon Scholar Project Manager, Beacon Health System School of Nursing. There you go, I got it. So thank you both for being here, and we will jump right in with questions. And a reminder to students and educators, if you want to drop questions in, please just do that as we go along. So I am going to go to Lisa with the first question, and we'll start with, we all hear about the shortage of workers across multiple industries, but healthcare in particular, and some may have missed Beacon's announcement yesterday, but they are doing a big growth. They're going to build a big new building, and they're going to need about 500 more healthcare workers. So we know that's true across all different parts of healthcare. So what does it look like, Lisa, particularly in phlebotomy and pharmacy tech roles?
Well, phlebotomy and pharmacy are always, pharmacists and phlebotomists are always in demand. I mean, there's always a need for them, just because they can be starting blocks to bigger and even better careers in the health field itself. And health is so diverse. Health is so many opportunities, whether you want to work one-on-one with patients, or if you want to be like in the health but non-patient contact. There are administrative roles, there's educational roles. There are just other roles that are in health that you don't have to have one-on-one contact if that is not your cup of tea, but yet you still want to be in health. So even to start talking about pharmacy, that's one that is definitely a growth field where you can actually start in retail and then work your way into a hospital setting. And as you progress along the way, of course, it's like you acquire new skills, you increase your salary, you have varied responsibilities. And that's so true in the world of pharmacy tech. Pharmacy tech itself can start out usually in a kind of like a dollar range of $16 to $20 per hour, depending on if you're in a retail or in a hospital setting. And there's even sign-on bonuses, believe it or not, from $500 up to like approximately $3,000, depending on, I know that was just like, when you hear that like $1,000 sign-on bonus, you'd be like, really? Like, did you drop a number or did you add an extra zero accidentally? But no, it's true. So just kind of depending on the industry or the facility that you're working in. So you can start off in as a pharmacy tech in the retail setting. The responsibilities, of course, would be working with the public, working with the pharmacist, pulling meds off the shelf, bottling, taking phone calls from patients, funneling into the pharmacist. It's really fast moving, is active. You're probably not really too bored too often because you're pretty much so moving the entire time that you're at work. So if you like a pretty fast paced, non-boring atmosphere, that pharmacy tech would be that.
If you've ever been at CVS or Walgreens picking up your prescription, nobody behind that counter is sitting still. Like it is, you're right. They are crazy busy all the time.
And then to kind of segue into that, there's also certificates here at Ivy Tech. That is one, the Pharmacy Tech, but you can also stack or like increase or even combine certificates. And another good certificate to even think about combining with pharmacy and EKG, if that is something that's your cup of tea, would be phlebotomy. Phlebotomy also is diverse. It is on your feet. You're moving, you meet so many different types of people. You know, the one thing about phlebotomists is you do the same thing, which is drawing blood, but phlebotomy is like so much more than just drawing blood. You work on babies, you work on children, you work on adults. You actually get to perform tests after you've been a phlebotomist for at least a little while. You perform throat cultures, you do that testing, it's just the people that you work on is how you increase your experience and your relationships with those people. The actual skill of drawing blood is the same, but it's who you come in contact with. It is just amazing. You know, so often you see on TV the different medical shows where they have the person in ER and they're ordering an x-ray and they're talking about the blood test is going to be done. Well, phlebotomy, you're right in there with all of that. That's for sure. You're in that fast-paced, exciting, sometimes a little scary, sometimes even kind of tearful atmosphere of phlebotomy when it comes to health, but yet still it's never boring. It's something that when you actually develop that skill and have that confidence, it's amazing what health can be. It's the people you work with and the atmosphere that you're in and the experiences that you actually have to experience. And even with that, the dollar range for phlebotomy right now, probably along the same lines as pharmacy tech, but phlebotomy right now can start at probably $16 to $18 per hour, depending on what type of facility you're working in. Because you can work in a physician's office, you can work in a laboratory, in an outpatient setting, you can actually work in a hospital, and depending on the shift that you work on, that shift differential can actually help with a pay scale. So first shift, second shift, or third shift. It just depends on which shift works best for, your circumstances and your family and your schedule and everything else. Traveling phlebotomists make very good money, at least $21 or more per hour. So that is very interesting, and even in that respect. So it just depends on if you want to stay stationary or if you like to actually see some of the world. If it's just you and you have the ability to travel and move around, why not explore some of the world? And then once you get to a certain point or part of your life where you're ready to stop traveling and settle down in one place. The nicest thing about phlebotomy is kind of like riding a bike. Once you actually learn that skill, it can always be a bridge between employments because it's a skill that you'll always have, that you'll take with you. It's nothing that you ever lose. Your certification for both pharmacy tech and for phlebotomy are both national. So as long as you keep that certification intact through CEUs, then it travels where you are. So it's never like you never have to recertify as long as you keep that certification intact. And that is a really nice aspect of it. It's not just state to state. You can take it wherever you go.
And what's interesting about that is if you've ever had a blood draw, like you really appreciate a good phlebotomist. I remember when we have an old house, so you take the kids for lead testing when they're young. And when I think my youngest one was 2 or 3 when he went, I was like, you first, you're like, oh, what's this going to be like? My kid, a needle. But that phlebotomist put him such at ease that he was just fascinated by the whole process, right? He sat and actually watched it. I can't even watch somebody put a needle into my arm, but my kid's like going, and he's looking at it like, well, this is interesting. There's blood coming out of it. And it was all the phlebotomists. So talk a little bit about the kind of the skills you need to bring into both pharmacy tech and phlebotomy. And real quick, also, how long are these programs? When you talk about these certificates, how long would it take to earn your phlebotomy certificate or your pharmacy tech?
The pharmacy tech certificate, you can complete that in 1 to 2 semesters. And our semesters here at Ivy Tech are 16 weeks. So it's like we have fall that are 16 weeks, spring 16 weeks, and summer that are 8 weeks. The nice thing about our 16-week schedule is that most classes now are divided into 8-week sections. The nicest thing about that is you can actually complete 4 classes in 1 semester if you take 2 the first 8 weeks and 2 the second 8 weeks. The nice part about that is that you're only concentrating on 2 classes at a time instead of 4 classes over 16 weeks. That is, it gives you a brain break, totally. And it allows you to still have like some semblance of life, and family time and everything else, because you only are concentrating on 2 classes at a time, if that is the number that works for you, 2 classes at a time versus more, versus having 4 classes all at one time frame that you have to actually kind of like schedule your brain to go from one class to another. So that's the nicest part. Phlebotomy, you can actually complete the courses in 1 16-week semester. You can take 3 the first 8 weeks and 3 the second 8 weeks. And then 16 weeks, you're done. The both certificates include clinicals. When you are in a course or in a certificate that has a clinical, having that clinical component really allows you to experience what it's like in real life. You learn the skills, you get the knowledge and the background in the classroom, you practice that skill in that classroom, then you go to that clinical setting and you actually get to practice what you've learned in the class. You take it to that retail, if it's pharmacy, or a hospital or outpatient lab, if it's phlebotomy. Usually from that experience, I always tell my students, think of it as, that 3 to 4 week experience as a 3 to 4 week job interview. Oftentimes students are offered like job opportunities just from being in that environment and having that clinical experience. So the classes are just amazing in what you learn. You actually have anatomy and physiology, you learn medical law and ethics, you get the lingo, the medical terminology, and then you go to the core classes that are phlebotomy and pharmacy. That's where you actually start doing the actual skills. And then you take that skill out with you into that clinical setting, you shine at that clinical setting, and then you become an employee and the world is your oyster after that. So it's amazing. Health can be so exciting, so frustrating, so just sad, but yet so joyful all at the same time. Is all in what you put into it is what you get out of it.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about the ability to come into these classes and then move into the next step. So what would you recommend for students, like classes to take in high school, things they should do? How could they best prepare to take advantage of these programs?
In high school, I say most high schools, I'm not for sure about the high schools represented, but I'm pretty sure that the ones that are here probably have dual credit in their high school environment. If you would start with dual credit classes in your junior and senior year, really you can actually complete some of these classes that are, because they're actually high school and Ivy Tech courses, you can complete some of those classes in that high school setting. So when you do come to Ivy Tech, you don't have such a heavy load. And at that point, once you are in that dual credit class, you gain that Ivy Tech credit. Those classes would definitely be general education classes that you could take, which would be like English and math, maybe a psych or social class, communication class. It just all depends on what is offered as dual credit in your at your high school setting itself. But what you get out the way in high school, you knock out the way, so you don't have to worry about that when you come to Ivy Tech. So it's a win-win on that respect. It just kind of gives you that step into that college life without having to totally immerse yourself, but dual credit, you'll get that experience. And there's also another component called dual enroll, where you're still at your high school, but you actually come to Ivy Tech to actually have classes. And that gives you even more of that college experience. And Ivy Tech, even though I know sometimes some students are like, it's not really college because you don't have dorms and everything else, but believe you me, it's college. Definitely, it's college classes. Just because Ivy Tech doesn't have dorms, don't think it's anything short. It's college, that's for sure. So, expectations are a little bit different. It's like you have more independence. Your deadlines you have to meet, and you have to meet that. You have to have that self-control to know that this is my time to study for this class. This is my time to think of me as being that college student, not just high school, but college. And oh my gosh, it's like, it is a different world. So, but nothing that you can't do, that's for sure.
That's awesome. And so Ivy Tech is being incredibly flexible and partnering really well with our local high schools as well as our local employers. So I'm going to jump over to Darren and ask you to tell us a little bit more about how Beacon and Ivy Tech are partnering to address worker shortages in the medical field, and a little bit more about the Beacon Scholars in the nursing program. We had a great session on this yesterday with Beacon where they talked about this as well. So it's great for the students to get even more information on this.
Yeah, so as you guys probably heard yesterday, this partnership that we're going to be doing with Beacon is really great for our community, because it's really going to allow us to train everyone here and keep everyone here and build the need. I mean, you talked about the new building that they're going to create and those 500 jobs. We got to fill them. We got to fill them in, and we want you guys to get that training that's needed to be able to make that facility function the way that we want. We all know the importance of a good nurse. And the programs that Lisa was talking about, the importance of those and being trained and how to do those appropriately. So the partnership between us and Beacon is going to be great, because it's going to, there's some really awesome incentives that are available to students as they come into Ivy Tech and join our nursing program and become a Beacon Scholar. And what a Beacon Scholar is basically you get to go through the program just like everyone else would, but we're going to help you with a little extra money along the way to kind of help with the rigor of the program. We're going to help you with that extra money so you don't have to worry about maybe working as many hours if you're planning on working while you're in school. We're going to give you a little bit of financial assistance throughout your time here in the program. And then you are all set. Like, you don't even have to worry about applying for a job. Like, you are going to be with Beacon for the next couple of years here as we go through everything, and you'll get to pick kind of while you're going through the program, what area of nursing do you want to go into? Do you want peds? Do you want OR? Do you like whatever the area is that you think that you want to kind of figure out, and you're going to have time to shadow these different departments while you're going through the program. But they're going to say, okay, here's where some job openings are. What's your first choice? What's your second choice? And as we go through the program, then you're going to get done, you're going to finish out, and then you're going to be able to jump right into that job opportunity where you've kind of done some clinical works as well as done some shadowing and really get a good feel for it. So they're going to help you.
What would be the first step for a student if they were interested in becoming a Beacon Scholar? What do you do first?
So, the first step of a Beacon Scholar is really just getting in and being an Ivy Tech student. So you got to become an Ivy Tech student first, and then you have to apply into our nursing program. So our nursing program is a limited enrollment program. We can only take on so many people every year because of those clinical obligations and limitations that are on us. And so you apply into our nursing program by doing that. There are 3 classes that you take to get started. It's an anatomy and physiology 1 course, an English, and a psychology. So just like Lisa was talking earlier, if we can get some of those done as dual credit courses and get those done on the way, it's possible that you could get those done before you even get started on campus. But you get those couple classes completed, and those are the main classes. There's some others that you have to worry about later on down the road, but those are your prereqs. Those are those classes you have to have done on the front end: anatomy 1, English, psychology. And once those 3 classes are done, you're ready to work on that application and get accepted into the program. And we accept students for our RN program at the beginning of every fall semester. So there's an application that's going on right now. It's open for students that are planning on wanting to get started in the fall. So if that's something that you've got those classes ready to go and you want to get ready to apply, come talk to us. We'll we'll get you started and down in our Express Enrollment Center and get you all set up and ready to apply. If not, when you come in here in the fall, we'll get you set up with those needed prereqs, talk about other gen eds, and get you ready to start in the program in the next year.
And where do students take classes? South Bend, Elkhart, Ivy Tech campus, like at the South Bend site?
So for all of your general education classes, so the Englishes, the psychs, the maths, all of those kind of classes, you can do at any Ivy Tech location. You can do those in South Bend. You can do those in Elkhart. If you happen to be in Indianapolis, you can take them in Indianapolis. It doesn't matter which Ivy Tech you take it from, but those gen eds are available statewide. Once you are in the nursing program to be a Beacon Scholar, all your nursing classes are specifically going to be taught more at the South Bend location.
That's excellent. So, and Ivy Tech sits down with the students and talks about cost and what this looks like for the prereqs. And then as you get into the Beacon Scholars Program, how that all works. So you can talk students through any kind of financial resources they might need to even get the prerequisites done.
Absolutely. So we're going to work with you on getting your your FAFSA, that free application completed, to see what kind of aid is available that way. We're going to work through a scholarship application to see if there's opportunities there. And then Beacon has said, you know what, if you've done everything that you can to try to get things paid for, and you still have a bill at the end of the day, we're going to come and we're going to pay for that tuition so you can get through it, because we don't want the tuition cost to be the barrier that keeps you from being able to go through our program. So Beacon's all in. Beacon's all in. We're all in to get you through the program. So it's a great opportunity for those that are coming, and hopefully finances isn't really an issue that's going to keep anyone from being able to complete the nursing program.
And every time we talk about this program, I get so excited because I see how the SEAL program that Ivy Tech has developed with South Bend Schools which is a state earn and learn. I better say that because all those acronyms, feeds right into this Beacon Scholars Program. Because if they come in and they've completed that SEAL program and they have their 5 certifications, they're ready to really hit the ground running in this Beacon Scholars Program, which I think is super exciting to see this kind of ecosystem being built where if you want to start early, you can. If you didn't start in high school, it's never too late to start it after you graduate from high school, I think about too, like adult education students, people who are interested in changing careers. If they've done a little college somewhere else, if they already have a bachelor's degree, could they then take advantage of this at Ivy Tech?
Absolutely. So anyone going through the nursing program is eligible for this Beacon Scholar Program. You don't have to be 18. You can be whatever age. You can have any experiences. You don't have to be a current Beacon employee to be a part of this. This is for anyone and everyone that's going to come through and join our nursing program that wants to become a nurse and then stay in our community and help our community thrive. So it's going to be a great opportunity for everyone here.
Excellent. So I'm going to jump back to Lisa with this question, which is like one of my favorite questions I ask during these sessions. Can you tell us what your first job was? How old were you? What did it teach you that you're using your job today? And how did you get where you are? Like, what's your career pathway? In 2 minutes or less, give us your life story.
Oh my gosh. All right. I started, believe it or not, in my junior year in high school. I actually went to the Career Center through a program. It was called Health Education. And so what I did was I had classes at my high school, and this was in Michigan at that point in time, in the mornings, and I went to the Career Center in the afternoon. I was there for 2 years. I wanted to work in the lab. So medicine has always been my thing. It's always been my jam. It's always been what has always interested me and made me so excited. So I decided I wanted to be in the lab. That was where my interest lied at that point in time. So at that point, I was in the lab. I was there for 2 years. My senior year, believe it or not, a person was leaving the lab and it was an opening in phlebotomy. So I put my application in and I acquired the position, which was awesome and amazing. I started out as a phlebotomist. And then at that point, really, I started to work my way through the departments, learning the different departments in the lab: chemistry, hematology, urinalysis, micro, all of those departments that are in the laboratory. After I actually was trained in those departments, I went to school after that. So I kind of did it a little bit backwards. I learned everything from OJT, on the job training. Then I went back to school, attained my associates, attained my bachelor's, and I even have a certification as a paralegal that I picked up along the way also. So I kind of had all of that background. And then I worked as a farm tech, like part-time. And so it was just all these different kind of aspects of everything coming in to what I did previously, leading me to my role as today. So I worked in the lab for, believe it or not, 29 years. I was there. And then from there, I was at Press Ganey for 3 years, which is a survey company. And then from there to Ivy Tech here. And the person just so happened, you know how they say it's like a lot of times who you know really is a good thing. Well, at the point of 2009, we were in a recession. From that recession, Ivy Tech was booming. And the dean in health sciences just so happened, believe it or not, her and I worked together previously at South Bend Medical Foundation. She was the education coordinator, and I was at South Bend Medical Foundation as an employee, and she knew me and I knew her, and we had known each other for years for that time. I called her up and I said, hey, I hear that you have a, really full enrollment. Would you need another instructor? And she's like, Lisa, yes. So I started out here at Ivy Tech as an adjunct, which is a part-time instructor. And from that, then I progressed into full-time. And then from that full-time position, through continued education and certifications and just being bold and brave and having courage and reaching out for more responsibilities and a better path, I transitioned into and became the department chair for healthcare specialists. So it's like you never stop learning. I mean, in everything we do in life, it's a progression onto bigger and better things. Just like farm tech, starting out as in retail and then going into the hospital. And then even at that point, if you like, progressing into nursing, and just think about the skills you bring into that nursing background. Or phlebotomy, when you're in a hospital setting, you're all through a hospital. Believe you me, you see every department. I mean, between the different occupational therapy, physical therapy, radiology, emergency room, surgery, all these different departments you're going to be involved in to some way, shape, or form with that blood draw or with those patients. Just think, you may actually find another department that just suits you even better than what you think phlebotomy is. Maybe it's like I said, it was my jam. Could be your jam, but you start out as a phlebotomist seeing everything in that hospital setting. So you really get a bird's eye view. So this is like my progression. And, and I mean, at this age I am now, I'm probably not done yet. There's probably still something else out there for me in health and even in this aspect. But tell you the truth, I really do enjoy teaching. I really do like it. I love it. The students is so interesting to see when they come into a program not thinking they can do something. And yet, as in phlebotomy, by the time they're done, they're drawing blood. And when you see that aha moment, when they be like, oh my gosh, I can do this, phlebotomy is like, bring it on, bring me another patient, let me stick another person. It's contagious.
Well, and I love that. And your enthusiasm is contagious. And the fact that you're a lifelong learner is what makes you such a great educator, I'm sure, because you're innately curious, obviously, and always looking for the next thing. And students listen to her because it is all about like building relationships, knowing what you like to do, and just keep doing what you like to do and keep adding new skills, and you can really just go anywhere. So I really appreciate this. And we are at time, which I can't believe the half hour goes by really quickly. So I so appreciate Lisa and Darren being here today, having this chat with us. A reminder, they are being recorded. So if you missed anything, there was a lot of information in this session. You can go back and watch that. Those will be posted sometime next week on the Health Careers Week landing page. I just thank you. This was great. And I love the overview of the Beacon Scholars Program, all the great opportunities available at Ivy Tech, and how you can best prepare to take full advantage of those. So thanks to both of you. Thanks to the students and educators who attended, and everybody go on and enjoy the day. We'll be looking for the afternoon sunshine. Lisa promised. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.